All right, hey everybody, welcome to our Team Set It Off team call. It has been a long time. If I knew some Missy Elliott lyrics, I would start rapping them, but I can't think of them off the top of my head. But it's been a long time since we've done a team call, and I'm really excited to get back to it. This was inspired by this book that I've been reading. Kelly knows that I make fun of this lady because I think she's a psychopath, but this psychopath is a millionaire, so she's got to be doing some things right. And I realized that the thing that I really was missing, especially because I do this full time, is that I don't have any interaction with people anymore. And I think it's important for us to all stay connected. It's that same reasoning behind, like, why do you need to listen to the national wake-up call every single week? It's not anything that you don't already know, pretty much, right? But just constantly feeding yourself that positivity and remembering why we're all in this together, and remembering that we are a team, and that even though, you know, we each possess our own personality and our own special traits, that we come together as a community and help each other succeed. So that is my introduction, and I am sticking to it. So let me screen share. Y'all are making me nervous. I'm over here sweating. So let me get, oh, hey, look, there's Kelly. You guys are like the only ones that pop up on my news feed. So let me just have a little thing here. Okay.
What is going on with my screen?
Right. Okay. So just make sure that you mute yourself unless you have something to chime in. Well, we'll do things at the end, but I want this to be able to be something that people can watch and be able to take notes. Okay. All right. So team set it off. Why do I have the unicorn? Because we are all magical in our special way, and who doesn't like unicorns? If you don't like unicorns, you can get out. Okay, so recognition. This is the fourth vital behavior, y'all, and it's something that I know I need to do a better job of, but done is better than perfect, and I wanted to take some time to shout out those of us that hit Success Club and changed some lives last month. So I actually am back in the game, guys. I hit Success Club 10. Jeanette was at Success Club 9. Crystal, Success Club 8. And then Crystal's coach, Whitney, was at Success Club 6, which is so exciting. And then I looked on there today, and and Kelly's got Success Club, blah, 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 Success Club 6 by the skin of her teeth. Like, literally the last day she got her last points. So that was really awesome. I looked in there today, and I think Crystal, Jeanette, Kelly, and then one of Crystal's newer coaches are already at Success Club 2 for this month. So y'all are killing it. Amazing, amazing job. I would be so curious to know. We'll have to ask at the end, but I know Crystal is probably coming up really, really close to being an all-star. I swear it's probably going to happen in like the next couple months, right? So anyways, and then honorable mentions, Heather and Jamie. Jamie is back in the game. She took a little bit of a breather. She's doing her own thing, but it's amazing to look in the back office in the downline and then see a number next to those two beautiful names. Y'all helped somebody last month get started on Shakeology and get started with a fitness program. So congratulations. It's a big deal. I know for me, hitting only is, like if you hit below 5, I was always like, don't mention me. Like, that's so embarrassing. But I think it still is a big indicator that you are moving forward and that you are making a difference and that people are trusting and believing in you and you are being proof the products work. So every single person that we get to help, make that investment, because, like, let's be real with it, $140+ is not chump change. Like, people will literally like fight you tooth and nail before they hand over their money to do something that'll change their lives, but yet they'll go and buy, like, whatever, don't even think twice about it, an iPhone or whatever like that. But Anyways, and then another thing that I wanted to touch on was I wanted to recognize those people, and I apologize if you watch this and you're like, my name's not up there. You saw it for a brief second on my Facebook feed. These are the people that I consistently see. So they're the people that are in my line of vision. So they're the people that I recognize that are posting on social media, and I can tell that you're being proof the products work, and you're planting seeds. Like, I know, especially, I have to give a really special shout out to Erin Sims, because I know she's working her ass off, and she gets frustrated because she's very, very much like myself. But I want you to know that I notice it. I guarantee you the people that know you are noticing the fact that you are showing up every single day. Even if you feel like you fall off the wagon like every other day, just keep showing up and keep doing what you're doing. You know, she continually impresses me, and that's something that goes a long way. You know, I mean, Success Club is great and it's awesome, but I think that showing I'm about to lose my mind. Mute yourself if you are on this. Sorry. Sorry, I'm starting my lady time, so if I act irrational, it's not Jen talking, it's PMS. Anyways, so these are the ladies that I noticed that post consistently on their social media that I'm just always continually impressed by. You guys: Erin Sims, Heather, Kelly, Jamie, Kristen, Jeanette, Crystal, and I'm sure a lot more people. The people that, you know, you're posting, you're bettering the social media world, right? Like, you're contributing, you're adding value, you're showing people that you work out, you're showing people that they can do it with you, that anything is possible. So anyways, I could go on and on and on and on about that, but let's get to the topic for today. I thought that I would give you some of my takeaways so far in Danny Johnson's First Steps to Wealth. I read this book probably back in like 2014, late 2014. And as you know, it's like, if we asked you to go and do algebra, would you remember how to do algebra? Like, you probably remember like the very bare bone basics. Like, you're like, yeah, I remember doing math. But if we asked you to try to teach and lead and tell us what your biggest takeaways are, you know, it'd be hard to remember. So I think that's why it's really good to go back to books that, you know, are just sitting on your bookshelf if you don't know what to read, and just pick them up and start, you know, get a notebook and start writing things down. So anyways, some of these concepts are going to be based off of what I've read from her book so far, and hopefully just to, you know, get us back into the ease of these team calls and remember why we're in this together. And I before I forget, I forgot to say it, but thank you for like being on the call. Thank you for being a part of the team. Thank you for watching the recording. If you're watching the recording, it is so amazing to think that less than, or a little over 2 years ago, I asked myself this question. More so, I asked myself this question in terms of like in a decade. I asked myself, where do I see myself in a year? Where do I see myself in 10 years? You know, and it became this overwhelming feeling of just regret and being comfortable and content and complacent. That's the word I was looking for. So I could see myself being happy, but I didn't think I would be at a level that I would have hoped my younger self would have dreamed that I would be at. And so I want you to ask yourself this question: where do you see yourself in a year? And beginning with the end in mind. I mean, you can start with next year at this time in 2017. Would you have gone on the Success Club trip for 2017? Or where, you know, what are you doing? Who are you with? What do you do for work? How much money do you make? What do you do for fun? Like, you know, you can start to ask yourself these questions, but then you can also even dig a little bit deeper. Something that personally for me, you know, most people I don't feel think of long-term goals, which is where do you see yourself in 5 years, in 10 years, in 15 years? Like, what kind of legacy do you want to leave for the people that you love and the people that you serve? And what impact do you want to leave on the world? And so I would hope that, if this is something that you already consistently think about, to really share that with our team on our team page after this call. Tell us what your goals are. Tell us what keeps you motivated, because the law of vision is so, so, so important. Danny Johnson talks a lot about like the 98% versus the 2%. And 98% of people just live day to day. Most people are drifting, right? It's kind of like, being on an inflatable tube and like being down by the river, and you're just so immersed in like looking at the scenery and just being aware of what's right in front of you, that next thing you know, if you looked up in 20 minutes, what if you're about to fall off a cliff? Like, it's that idea of drifting, that you're just so caught up in the here and now that you can't look up and be like, oh shit, like my marriage is falling apart, or I'm broke, or I don't have any savings, or I'm not happy, or I'm overweight, or something. It takes almost something catastrophic for most people, the 98% of people, to just like slap themselves and wake up and realize that, oh shit, like I'm in danger and I need to do something about it. So resolve to be that 2% that, she gave this statistic. I think it was something like by the age 65, 98% of people, where is this statistic? I don't want to mess it up. Okay, this is really eerie. So, but I want to say it because that's why I told you she cray. 98% of people will either be dead or dead broke by age 65. And most people are working by default versus design. And that it's not the answer to just, work hard and that's it. You have to have a plan. You have to have a vision. You have to have something bigger than yourself, right? So start to think of the law of vision. And I think this is something that, I don't know what happened to me in the last couple months, but I've lost that sight myself. And so coming back to this and just really breaking it down and asking yourself, okay, like what kind of money do I want to make? Like, where do I want to live? What kind of house do I want to live in? What kind of opportunities do I want to have? Do I want to travel? Do I want to go and see stuff? Do I want to, what is your idea of happiness? What is your idea of freedom? What is your idea of making an impact? What are your goals? So starting with that, the next one is, once you have your vision, right? Because it's nice and sometimes it's easy to make a vision, right? Where you're like, I'm going to be a millionaire and I'm going to be super happy and I'm going to have a really hot body and I'm just going to walk around in a G-string and my husband's going to be madly in love with me and everything's going to be great, right? But then you start to realize that, oh, hey, real life kicks in, and suddenly, all those hopes and wishes and aspirations and that, yeah, get 'em tiger attitude slowly goes away once you have a very exhausting day, or you're PMSing and you want chocolate, you get in a fight with somebody, or, just real life stuff. And so this is the thing. Oh yeah, just FYI, whoever jumped on, if you can mute yourself, that would be much appreciated. So understanding that we are what we repeatedly do and think. I know you've heard this before. I know you have heard it before, but I need you to feel this in your bones. Like, I've been hearing this. I got into personal development maybe like 5-6 years ago. And I can never hear the same message enough. You know why? Because we're always evolving, we're always changing, and these things mean different definitions to us at different points in our life. And it's something you have to ingrain in yourself and constantly just make it a fiber of your being. So understanding you are what you repeatedly do and think. You can't say you want to lose weight, but yet you stuff your face every night with junk food. And then when you're tired, you don't do your workouts, right? Like you have to, like, or if you constantly belittle yourself and look in the mirror and tell yourself you're a fat ass and, you know, you'll never lose any weight. Like, what do you think is going to happen? We are what we repeatedly do and think. So I want you to remember that we are the people we hang out with, right? You are like the 5 people that you hang around the most. We are the things we digest. Your food, the media, TV, books, or lack thereof, internet websites, your own inner dialogue. You know, you are the result of the things that you consistently feed yourself with, you know, and to understand that, like, how are you going to feel it if you turn on the 5 o'clock news every single night? Guess what's on? Dude, I don't even got to live in your city to tell you what's on the news, right? Like, if something's important, like, no shit, I'm going to tell you right now, the magic of social media. I was on Snapchat, and that's how I found out Muhammad Ali died. Like, if it's big enough, you'll find out about it, right? But there's no point in subjecting yourself to what the media thrives on, right? Your fight or flight response. Like, they just want to get you riled up all the time. Anyways, read Darren Hardy or read any success book, and they tell you that feeding your mind with positivity is so important. You have to protect your mind and grow it every single day. Every single day, especially those days when you don't want to do anything or you don't feel like, you know, you're just working off of your feelings. You know, your mind is the most powerful tool you have. It can either lead you to success or it can lead you to misery, you know, but it's your decision. And I know, and, you know, it's so funny because I can say this and I can do a webinar about it, but, like, dude, I'm still a human, and I literally have to have, like, this awareness to understand, oh my God, I'm doing that thing again. I'm being negative. I'm, you know, believing my self-limiting doubts. Like, I have to recognize it. So it's not necessarily like living in this, like, like nothing affects me world. Because I guarantee you, every single person that's watching this right now, you fight your mind at some point during the day, right? We all have a decision to make. We all have to either, you know, rely on our willpower, or we have to remind ourselves of what's important, you know, and to just understand that when you tap into that asset that you have, I mean, that's more important than your resources, your background, your circumstances. Like, if you truly believe that you can do something, you will make it happen. And I guarantee that all my mamas out there, you probably have a story of, like, some crazy thing that happened to your kid, or, like, you had to afford to buy something, or you had to get somewhere for your child and you, like, made it happen. Like, magic happened. And you're like, what? It's because it was important. It was a non-negotiable. So understand that the non-negotiable in anything that you do, whether it's Beachbody coaching, which is the reason for the season, or anything else, is that your mind is so important. And the fact that if you are listening to this and you're just like, yes, and you're nodding and maybe you're writing a couple things down, that you understand. And you should pat yourself on the back, because there are so many people that just brush this aside. They're like, I don't need that. I'm fine. I'm good. Whatever. You know, like, it's important more so than even just because I have a few people that, like, are like, I pray, I read the Bible. Like, that's great. Like, that's your faith and that's your spirituality. And that's an important part of you. But, like, yo, like, you've got to train your mind. You've got to train your mind. You've got to read positivity. You've got to fill your cup up. You can't just be like, I have Jesus on my side, so now I have a bachelor's degree. You have to go to school, right? Like, you got to do the work. You got to do the work. So anyways, so the next law is asking yourself, where can you bring value? Why would someone trust you? I talk about this a lot when I used to do master training. So when I would certify instructors, I would tell them, you know, you have to put some skin in the game. Like, you're the new kid on the block. Like, you have to master your craft. And something, even to this day, after being an instructor for about 10 years, you always have to be the student. You always have to stay curious, stay hungry and humble, stay in phase one, and work on your skills. These are the things that are super, super, super important. It's the difference between why a regular doctor and a brain surgeon get paid different wages. It's because you have more skills. There are things that you have that come with time, of course, right? But then there are things that you can invest in. Your professional skills, your people skills. Oh my gosh, your people skills, right? That's like the most important. And then your personal and leadership skills. So just understanding that you have to treat this business as a business and yourself as a business. You're the business. You are not Beachbody. You are you. And so you must master your craft. If fitness is not your background, then resolve to learn a couple things about fitness. I'm not saying become a fitness instructor or a nutritionist or whatever, but like read a couple articles, fill your knowledge base with some things that'll be helpful for other people, right? It's just that same idea that like when you become a coach and someone else isn't a coach and they have never heard of Beachbody, you have a higher skill set than them. So the more things you can add to your repertoire, the more value that you can bring to those around you. This is my favorite law. I've been talking a lot about this on my Instagram, but this whole idea of if you give little, you get little. This is the law of reaping and sowing. So you have to take responsibility for the way that your business is right now, the way you are, the way your finances are, the way, your job is, the way your kids are, the way your marriage is, the way your friendships are. Like, you reap what you sow. And this was like a pill that I swallowed it, but it's a pill that I didn't really want to swallow because we all don't want to look in the mirror sometimes, right? Like and this is coming from a person where I keep it real, right? When I was at my day job, I was always the one that like, if I messed up, like I would fess up. I had no problem being like, oh, that was my bad, I'm sorry. But it always was like like, damn it, I'm going to look stupid, but it's okay, right? It's never easy to like put the mirror up to yourself and be like, I'm not a good leader. Like, I had to do that to myself. And I had to go, Jen, when you close your eyes and you daydream about your vision and what you want for your team and what you want for your business and what you want for your legacy, are you living it? And I had to go, no, I'm not. And so this is that idea that like whatever you put into it, you're going to get out. And, part of the thing that I was missing is I wanted love, right? I wanted love from the team. I thrive on recognition, y'all. Like, and I don't get much of it, right? Like, people don't really shout me out or, I'm a Leo. So I'm always like me, more me, look at me. But I realized that like, I wasn't feeling loved, it was like cobwebs in our team set it off page. And I was like, why isn't anybody posting in here? This is some bullshit. But then I had to take a look in the mirror and I was like, you're not giving anything. You're not giving love. So why would you get love back? Right? So it's that idea that like, if you want a strong marriage, you've got to give. And if you want challengers to participate and be there, you're going to have to give, right? You can't just expect that you just get to receive, right? You reap what you put in. And so this is what I would say that my biggest takeaway from this law, and it's something that I did 2 years ago, and it's how, you guys, like, I totally missed the ball. I think I still will do it because I love my Jamie, is that I truly believe that this is the reason why Jamie came into my life, is because 2 years ago, I used to do team calls like this, okay? But it was only like 2 people on it. And I always used to say, I'm like, we're just gonna pretend that we are like an elite team and there are 100 people on this call. I mean, shoot, you guys, I could open this up and you guys could all be gone. Like, I don't know. My screen is just this presentation. So, but I have to act as if I want an elite team, if I want to help other people get to this point of where I'm at, like I was talking to Kelly about like how much I make a week and the things they do. And she was like, man, oh man, if I could have that, that would be amazing, And so I have to act as if I want this big organization, if I want to help get people to where I'm at, and even where I'm at is a little complacent for the last month or so, I have to act as if I'm that person. And I have to show up every day as that person. And even when it makes me feel like I'm a phony, when it makes me feel like I'm a fake, when maybe I get crickets in the group or I get crickets from my challengers, I have to show up every single day. And I have to act like that person. And I don't know why it's so hard for me sometimes to remember that, because that's what I did. That's why I'm the person I am today, you guys. Like, I was the shy girl. When I sit back and God, I hate doing it. I hate revealing parts of myself from my past, because I always feel like it's oh, there, Jen. Like, I don't want sympathy. I just want to show people a glimpse of like, this is the person I used to be, and this is who I am now. And even though I am butt naked pretty much half the time, figuratively. I want to show people I don't want to show them just, like I lived my life for a long time like that, where I was like, I just want you to think I'm perfect and I'm happy, because I had to convince myself I was that person. But now I feel comfortable enough with myself that I'm like, I can show you my true colors, and I can tell you, hey, I'm having a bad day, but you know what? I recognize I'm having a bad day, and this is the good thing that happened, and this is what I think I'm going to learn from it, and I'm going to move on, right? And so it's just doing those small actions of acting like someone that was a positive fitness instructor, that was a master trainer, that was somebody that people, could look up to. I became that person. And so here I am in the next stage of life, because we never arrive, correct? We never arrive. It's never a destination. It's always the journey, and we're always evolving and becoming different people. And so I have to, in order to get to the next level, I have to act like that person that I want to be. So that's the law of reaping and sowing. So asking yourself, the law of desire, what do you desire? And I've talked a little bit about this, but what legacy do you want to leave? I mean, I don't know if you've noticed the trend, but a lot of superstars have recently passed. And it's quite fascinating, isn't it? Like certain icons who passed away, and like people mourning them, and just, I mean, even watching like a 30 for 30 documentary on Netflix of like I can't remember, it was like a college basketball team from North Carolina, and the coach had passed away from cancer. Here I am. This guy passed away, like, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago, 15 years ago. I don't know how long he passed away. But just imagine, could you imagine in like, after you pass away and in 50 years, someone is on a team call for their whatever, and they're talking about you and saying how, they watched your life and it inspired them to be something more. Like, those are the kinds of things. I mean, not everybody wants to have a legacy in that regard, but they want to. We all want to be remembered, right? Like, we all want to know we made a difference. We want to know that this was for something. And so understanding, what the bigger picture is will help us get through the day-to-day stuff. And so to tap into our desire, it's really tapping into our enthusiasm, persistence, risk-taking, and adventure. Risk-taking is it makes no sense to anybody else except you, I swear, sometimes. It's like that same reason why Jamie took a risk and she went to Success. Oh my God, I can't think of the name. The Chalene Johnson thing. Smart success. Okay, got it. You know, Jamie like put up a lot of money and a lot of investment to not only pay for that training, but then to also fly out to Orange County and take a risk. And you know, same thing with me going on the Success Club trip, or us, you know, if you're going to Summit, like paying for a hotel room, buying a flight. These are risks, you know, like for me, even like explaining to my husband, like, hey, listen, dude, like, I know you think this is just for fun, but this to me is like, this is business. This is non-negotiable. But to him, it looks like it's taking a risk. So, you know, being able to take certain risks and having the gift of getting over it, like that's so important, because you have to have, I mean, all of these tie in together, but having faith, like there's no guarantee in what we do, right? Just because you can post every day, just because you can talk to people every day, just because you do your workouts, just because whatever, right? Nothing is guaranteed. I don't know. I do kind of know, but then I don't kind of know why. You know, we all want to play it safe. We want to stay in our comfort zone. We want to not rock the boat. We want to keep it safe and secure. And that's just not how you're going to get to your big, hairy, scary goals, your big, scary dreams. And part of that desire is learning to fly. It's incorporating all of these things and remembering why you're enthusiastic, and having that tenacity to be persistent in the face of failure, and taking some risks, and being forgiving, and getting over your failures, and looking at them through a different lens, and having faith that it'll all work out, you know. There are so many different stories of just like Toyota and Hyundai and KFC and who else? Like all these other, like these things that we all take for granted now, right? Like all these things, all these inventions that we're like, oh, okay. Or like businesses, things of that nature that we're like, oh yeah, okay, whatever. Like sure, it was easy for them. No, it wasn't. Like certain people lost thousands and millions of dollars and got told no over and over and over again. Like not saying KFC's like God's gift to earth, but like Colonel Sanders got like, he was like 65 or something when it finally came to fruition, and that was him like busting his butt to get it going. So learning to fly, enjoying the process, and having that desire to reach greater heights is super important. So the next thing that I want to talk about, and I'm almost done, you guys. I know I'm probably talking for a very long time, so thank you for your patience. The next one is the law of teachability. Whew, teachability is so important, okay? Do you see all those bullet points and then the word ego? So Diane Johnson talks a lot about weighing your ego against your goals, and not being afraid to ask for help. And to weigh your ego against your bank account. She says that. She says to confront your ego. The things that we want, the things that we truly, that vision, that desire, you know, once we start getting going, sometimes not sometimes, all of the time, we end up facing one of these bullet points. So you can read them. I'm not going to say them all out loud, but there's probably one that jumps out at you that you're like, oh, dang it. You know, like that this is your ego talking. This is the part of you that is coming out, and it's holding you back. So the one that I highlighted were excuses, because I hear the excuses ego come out time and time and time again. So I'm going to read you the excerpt. It says, the excuses ego loves to just pick excuses instead of getting results. We can't afford that. I don't know how I'm going to do it. Oh gosh, that seminar is too far away. I will wait for her to come to Kansas. It is not going to work for me anyway. It is too expensive and I do not have the time. I don't know the right people. I wasn't raised by the right parents. My husband doesn't support me. If only the CDs were cheaper. You know, this will require me to take time to learn, and I just don't have the time. It's too hard anyways. I have heard some of those and more, and when you start to, because you can always vent to me. I mean, you can vent to whoever you want. You can always vent to your girlfriends or your success partner or whatever. But when you start hearing these words come out of your mouth, and they even come out of my mouth, you have to recognize that, like, this isn't going to get me results. This isn't serving me. And to understand that, like, if you, for example, she gives this this analogy of, like, if you want a great marriage, wouldn't you, like, ask somebody that's been married for 50 years and chases each other butt naked around the house? Like, wouldn't you want to take them to coffee and ask them, like, what are their secrets? What are, like, what's made it last for this long? You wouldn't ask somebody that is, divorced 3 times, like, what makes a marriage work, right? But it's in that same sense too, that, like, sometimes we don't like to ask for help because it shows that we lack something. And so having that law of teachability and cutting your excuses out the door is so, so, so important to be able to reach your goals and take responsibility. And this is that idea that the 2% of people, when they face a roadblock, they ask themselves, how can I make it happen? Right? When it is May 31st and you're at Success Club 4, right? A resilient, a persistent, a successful person won't just say, oh, damn, it's the 31st. I have talked to everyone. I don't know who's going to help me. I don't know who's going to buy. I don't know what to do. I have to go to work. My kids have practice. I blah, 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 right? Or you can be like Kelly and get that shit done and ask yourself, how can I make it happen? How can I make it happen? Right? Instead of being like the 98% of people that go, oh, well, I guess it's just not going to work. It's not meant to be. The 2% of people, the successful people, are always looking for one more reason to succeed. Meanwhile, the 98% of people are always looking for one more reason to quit. Right? And it's that idea that, well, just because it didn't work once, probably will never work. So getting over your ego is so, so, so important. And it's it's never perfection, right? It's a journey, it's a process, but being able to recognize when your ego is showing up, you have to go, listen, ego, look at this bank account. Is it where I want it to be? I don't think so. You need to GTFO. The next one is to let it go. I will not sing the Frozen song. I've never even seen that movie, so I'm not gonna try it. But if you know it, you can belt it out, but keep yourself muted. Forgiveness, and I know you've heard this before too, but forgiveness is not about the other person. It's about letting yourself be free of the bitterness, right? You've seen that quote that floats around that, whole or not forgiving someone is like you drinking the poison and hoping the other person dies, right? Like, you have to learn how to forgive. You have to learn to forgive first and foremost yourself, right? You have to forgive yourself. You have to forgive yourself for gaining 10 pounds, whatever. Not like I'm talking to myself right now. But then you also have to forgive people. Right? Like, holding on to bitterness only hurts you in the end. It crushes your productivity, it diminishes your creativity, and it just makes you a bitter person, right? And I want you to remember, right, people will screw you over. People will disappoint you. It doesn't mean you don't have to trust people and that you're just like, everyone's evil, everyone sucks, why even bother? It's having that faith that, like, everyone is generally good and people are going to disappoint you from time to time, but it's not a reflection of you, right? And it's not, and you just have to forgive them, because they made a bad decision. They're not a bad person, and maybe they are a bad person, whatever, right? But you have to think about it. Like, if I asked you, who do you need to forgive right now? Like, who comes to mind? Is it yourself? Is it someone else? Like, what's holding you back? Because I guarantee you, when you have unfinished business, when you have, it stays. Like, you may not think it stays, but it stays. It stays. And that's why I don't know how many success books y'all got to read before you get it through your head that you need to learn how to meditate. And you could use my suggestion of using Headspace, or you can just start practicing for 2 minutes and just focus on your breath and breathe in and breathe out. And if your mind feels very, very busy and full of chatter and it's going 100 miles a minute, oh boy, do you need meditation, right? Like, you just need to quiet your mind and be able to separate yourself from your feelings. I do this a lot more towards myself. Like, for those of you that are very feely, like, sometimes I feel like I'm the only one on this damn team that's like, I don't feel like it. And so then I feed into my emotions. But I'm sure everyone goes through it from time to time. So the law of forgiveness is super important. So these are the last things that I want to leave you with, is to remember, oh, whoa, that formatted very weird. Prosper where you're planted. I just want you to like resonate on that. And here's your practice for meditation. Stop being distracted. Unless you have kids crawling all over you or animals, it's all good. But if you're, I know I've been talking for a while, but I want you to come back here for just this last minute and remove the distractions from your mind, remove the noise, right? And just focus and tell yourself you need to prosper where you're planted. You have everything you need right now in this moment to be successful and to be happy. And it doesn't come in the next book. It doesn't come in the next person or the next pound or the next challenge pack you sell. You have to prosper where you are planted today and focus on the good, focus on the things that are your strengths, be aware of your weaknesses, work on improving them, right? Where you focus your energy, that is where you will grow. So prosper where you're planted. Because I know for some of us, for me, I used to be like, oh, I can't do a live video because the lighting's shitty. Whatever, who cares? Prosper where you're planted. You don't need a diva ring light and like a tripod and a microphone to crush it. Like, those things will happen in time, right? Just like, oh, I need to wait until I have the perfect script or I know what my perfect power hour is before I can do anything, right? Like, no, you have a computer right now in your face. You have a phone in your face. And you have this beautiful thing called Google, and you have an even better thing called YouTube. And then you have a cool thing called your back office, and anything that you would like to know how to do, you can find on all of those places because you homegirl here, and that's why I apologize. We don't have a lot of systems in place. It's something that I want to reap, so I'm going to start sowing it. I think I've said that for like 2 years now. But that's how I've succeeded. And I know that's how a majority of you on this team have succeeded, because I kind of was like, all right, those of you that want to sink or swim, let's do this thing, like, here's what I've done, figure out what works for you. Because I didn't have someone to hold my hand and be like, use this script and, this is what you should say. And then you should watch this video. And if you're having this roadblock, do this, right? I had to be like, shit, like, I got to figure this out. Like, man, I really suck at inviting. I feel like a cheap salesperson, and watching videos and watching, the things in my back office and using their scripts and just, prospering where you're planted. You've heard it a million times. Well, I'm going to say it one more again. Done is better than perfect. Done is better than perfect. Say it with me in your head. Done is better than perfect. That should be, better yet, that should be your mantra when you meditate next time. If you feel like you have this hesitation and you can't post and you don't know what to do and things aren't going, like, you just have to fail. You just have to suck at it. It's just like when I taught my first class in fitness, just like when I had my first invite, my first conversations, my first live video, my first video, my first Instagram post. Like, done is better than perfect. And there are going to be some days where you're a wordsmith and your hair and your nails and makeup is looking right, and you know exactly everything to say to your prospect and your coaches. And then there's going to be some days where you're like, I want to put my head underneath the pillow and I don't want to do anything. And then those are the days you have to tell yourself, done is better than perfect. If I need to post 3 times today and I don't know a damn thing to post, well, let me just look at something that's from my memories. Let me look through an old transformation photo. Let me look at somebody on our team's transformation photo. Let me talk about the importance of water. Who cares? Just do it. And then the last one is to start today. And start right now and stop thinking about it. Stop hesitating. Do that thing, and even for my rock stars, like, if there's something that you're hesitating to do, like, just do it. Just do it. Right? If it fails, it fails, and it's never a failure because you can learn from it, you can grow, and you can teach it. And these are the things that will just make you a better leader, a better coach, a better friend, a better parent, a better everything. So if you've made it through this presentation, you better be doing something right now. You better have an action list right in front of you and things that you are inspired to do, and take the next 10 minutes to just send a message or go on your Facebook and add a couple new people to your network, or message me if you've been putting it off and being like, well, I have no idea where to start. I'm going to tell you where to start. So anyways, that's my presentation. So thank you guys for listening. I appreciate you. So we're just keeping it OG, nothing too specific, a little bit more conceptual, like the National Wake Up Call from this week. But I think it's always good to hear things like that. So